This right here is the Piper Warrior. It's one of the planes my school has for pilot training, and today I'm gonna show you guys the outside, the inside, and talk a little bit about this plane. If you're getting your private license, you're for sure gonna fly a Cessna, but maybe you're also gonna fly a Piper. This plane is about the same size and weight of a Cessna. It's a direct competitor to the Cessna 172. It also seats 4 people, around the same power, same wingspan, same gross weight. So they're very similar planes to fly. I started my training flying the Cessna 172 and I wanted to try this plane. My instructor took me for one flight, and after that one flight I could fly on my own. It's really easy to take off and land if you're already flying other planes. The only difference is the low wing on this plane versus the high wing on a Cessna. The effects of ground effect are much stronger in this plane with the low wing. So normally our flare is a bit longer than compared with the Cessna. But other than that, they're very similar planes to fly. While the Cessna 172 has doors on both sides, the Piper only has a door on the right side. So it is a little bit trickier to get in and out of the plane. You need to climb over the wing and enter the plane. It's kind of entering a sports car compared to the Cessna, which is like entering a pickup truck. Some people don't really like getting in and out of the Piper compared to the Cessna. Personally, I don't mind that much. But I feel like if you have back problems or anything like that, it can be a little bit annoying to get in and out of this plane if you're flying a lot. One good thing about having a low wing plane is refueling becomes an easy task. With the Cessna, you need to climb the wing or you need to use a little ladder. With this one, you can just remove the cap, fill it, you can check your fuel much easier. So it's a big plus. Especially during your flight training, you're gonna have to refuel your plane a lot, and having a low wing makes everything much easier. The only drawback of having the fuel here is that to check your fuel, you need to go under the wings and drain your fuel from under the plane. Just like the Cessna I reviewed last week, this plane has fixed landing gear. You cannot retract them, so that means more drag and more fuel consumption while flying. But in the other hand, it means less maintenance, less problems with all the hydraulic systems. Same goes for the propeller. This is a fixed pitch propeller. You cannot vary the pitch depending on your flight situation. It's always gonna be that, unless you wanna upgrade, but that's something else. The Piper Warrior is a cousin of the Piper Cherokee, I would say brother. The Cherokee has a more square wing. This one has some curves and different shapes throughout the wing. In a Cessna, you have the stabilizer and the elevator. In this plane, you have 2 in 1. It's only one piece that moves all together. This is a mix between stabilizer and elevator. We call it Stabilator. The rudder is the same as the Cessna. Just to compare, this is the Cessna. This part doesn't move, and only the elevator moves. In the Piper, everything moves together. And I'm sorry if you can hear a high-pitched tone. There's a Bitcoin mining machine right here, and it's pretty loud. You can put up to 48 gallons of fuel in this plane. It's pretty good. It's nice for long cross countries. It's a very comfortable plane. It has a better fuel capacity than the Cessna I fly. Other Cessnas in the school have a bigger capacity, but the one I fly is 38. So you have 10 extra gallons in the Piper. Before I show you guys the interior of the plane, this is the cargo compartment. It's a little bit bigger than the Cessna from last week. In that plane you can only put 120 pounds in the cargo compartment. In this one you can put up to 200 pounds. So it's a big difference, and it's really roomy back here. I mean, I could go here. It's not only bigger in size, but also the door is bigger, so it's easier to load, maybe if you have big boxes or anything. It's nice. In here you have a little step, a little holder, so you can climb the wing. You can only step in this dark part of the wing. You can't step anywhere you want. It has like a grip feel to it. Now I'll show you guys the inside of the plane. In my opinion, the Piper is more comfortable than the Cessna. I like the position. I like the panel, I like the controls, I like the seat. Everything I like a little bit better than the Cessna 172. I flew the Cessna more than the Piper because that's the plane we use for the flight test. I thought it would be a better idea to practice in the plane I'm actually gonna use for the test. But if I'm going on flights for fun or cross countries, I take this one. As I mentioned before, we don't have a door on the left side, only on the right side. But in here we do have a little window. If we need to talk with someone that's outside of the plane, if it gets foggy, you can open this window. And it's really nice because the camera doesn't fit through the window, but the lens does. So it's a safe way to get shots from the outside without losing a camera. It's a really bad idea to put your phone near a window. The vacuum will suck your phone. So don't do that. Other than that, we have the lights here, just like in the Cessna. This one, we have the sun visors here, and you can even flip it to the other side. It's really nice. I feel like this plane is better built than the Cessnas in the same year. I'm not sure of any Cessna, but at least the Cessnas we got here, I like the Piper better than I like them. But the space inside feels a little bit bigger. I'm not sure if it's just my preference, but if I feel the Piper is a little bit roomier than the Cessna. You have 2 seats in front, 2 seats in the back, a bigger cargo compartment there. And now I'm gonna show you guys the panel. Starting on the left side, we have a clock, airspeed indicator, attitude indicator, altimeter, and here we have the OBS. We have the turn coordinator, heading indicator, vertical speed indicator. Just like in the Cessna, we have fuel left and right, oil temperature and pressure, but in this one we have fuel pressure. And the reason why we have a fuel pressure measurement here is because we have a fuel pump. In the Cessnas, the engine is gravity fed, so the fuel is just higher than the rest of the plane on the wings and it just flows down. In the Piper, the fuel is lower than the engine, so we need a pump. While the plane is running, there is an engine-driven pump that takes the fuel to the engine, but we also have an electric pump. In case the engine one fails, we still have a pump. So when we're taking off, we're using that pump, or also when we're coming for an approach. Just in case the pump that's engine-driven fails, we still have fuel coming into the engine. Down here we have the jacks for the headset. We have the EGT reader, we have the engine hours, the magnetos, the RPM, and here we have our primer. Right next to the primer we have throttle and mixture controls. We can also adjust how hard it is to move the levers here. We have the carb heat control, the amp meter, just to see if the alternator is charging the battery. In here we have the navigation equipment and the radio lights, and here we have the rest of the panel lights. Also the master, fuel pump, landing light, anti-collision lights, and pitot heat. Over here we have the COM and the GPS. So here we have COM1, we have in here the controls for COM1 and COM2. And here on the right we have the transponder, the suction for the gyro instruments. In here we have a cigarette lighter. Here is the mic input for the pilot on the right side. We have the carbon monoxide sticker here, cabin heat and air. And down here we have the circuit breakers for everything. Down here we have a nose pitch adjustment, right and left. Just like we have a trim tab, in this one we also have a nose one. And in here we have the parking brake. And down here we have the drift lever, so while you're taxiing you can drift into the runway. This is just the flaps, okay? It's not a drift thing. So when you pull this, the flaps go down. When you pull back down, the flaps go up. Just like in the Cessna, here we have the controls for the rudder and the nose wheel, as well as the brakes. If you step on the top part, the plane will brake. And here on the left side you have the fuel selector. Right tank, left tank, off. In this plane we cannot fly with both tanks at the same time. So if you're flying Cessnas and you put the fuel selector to both and you just fly without worrying which tank you're using, this plane is a little bit different. You always need to set a timer, maybe for 30 minutes, to switch between tanks, because if you forget and you just fly, you're gonna make the plane too heavy in one side and too light in the other side, and you're gonna run dry on one of the wings, so you need to pay attention for the fuel selector. You have little straps here to hold. On the inside we have the lock for the doors, and you can also lock and unlock from the outside. Am I forgetting something? And down here between the seats you have the trim tab right next to the flaps. And here is the button you press to shoot a message to the ATC. On the armrest here you have an ashtray, of course, to use with your cigarette lighter. And in both sides we have little openings here for airflow in case it gets too hot. Same goes for the back seat. Up here we have the compass. Over here we can open to access the engine and also to check on the oil. So before every flight we need to check how much oil we have. And I think this is it. This was a quick review on the Piper Warrior. It's the plane I like to fly the most here at school. I was gonna fly today, but we had a lot of fog this week, so I had to postpone my flight. So next week I'm gonna either do a comparison between the Piper and the Cessna, showing a little bit of each and what's different between them, or I'm gonna make a video review on the Piper Seneca, the twin engine plane we have here at school. If you have any question about pilot training here in Canada or in Vancouver, just send me a message on Instagram. I'll link my Instagram down in the description. Or if you have a simple question, you can just ask in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I know that most of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, 75% to be exact. So if you like the videos I make, just subscribe and I'll be here next week again with a new video about aviation. I really appreciate all the support you guys gave me last year, and this year I'm gonna make a video per week every week. So make sure you leave your like, subscribe, and I see you next week.